So, with The Flash coming to an end, it's basically the end of an era. Arrow was the first to go, Supergirl left, then we lost Black Lightning, and now we're at the final season of The Flash. I've been doing a rewatch of the Arrowverse, and let me tell you something. Manu Bennett, you were the GOAT. Like, the best thing, in my opinion, to come out of the Arrowverse, the best thing to come out of Arrow was definitely Manu Bennett as Deathstroke. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Not only was it fantastic casting, but season 2, in my opinion, is still top tier in regards to storytelling and the villain. I think the only season that probably beats it is season 5, which I think season 5 was when they introduced Prometheus and Adrian Chase, and that's only because Adrian did what Deathstroke Slade didn't. He emotionally broke Oliver Queen, which Deathstroke basically was physically manhandling that man throughout the entirety of the season. But it's the introduction that works for me, because the very first time we get introduced to the idea that Deathstroke was going to pop up in the series was the very opening shot of season 1. Opening shot of season 1, boom, Deathstroke mask on the beach. Right then and there, DC fans are like, ooh, is that a Deathstroke mask? Deathstroke's here? Is he going to be in this series? Is he going to be the main villain in the series? Of course it wasn't. Malcolm Merlin was the final villain of season 1, which was also a good choice. But then your boy arrived in season 2, and with him came all of the flashbacks, because we were getting flashbacks during season 1 for Oliver's time on the island and him being trained by Deathstroke. But then you get into the weeds of season 2, and when you get into season 2, you get all of the backstory, and I love the way in which their relationship is structured, where they start off as strangers and then they become like brothers, because he basically trains him and teaches him how to survive. Then they transition into rivals for love, rivals for Shadow's love. Oh, rest in peace, Shadow. Then they become enemies. He thinks he kills him. Oliver moves on. Slade survives in the most boss way possible when he explains to Oliver, because Oliver was like, wait a minute, you went down with the ship, you never came back to the island, how are you here? And Slade was like, what you mean? I swam to the mainland. He was like, my body ripped and it was restored, because at that point in time he had Mirakuru in his system. So Slade just basically swam all the way to friggin' China or wherever that island is off the coast of whatever continent, and he was getting attacked by sharks. He was getting broken up on the reef. He was getting slashed up. He was getting cut up, and he was just like, yeah, we healing, baby. We gonna make it to the mainland. He made it to the mainland finally. But then they become like nemesi. He becomes his nemesis in season 2, and then they become arch nemesis. He becomes the arch nemesis in season 2 when he kills Moira Queen. But then he gets arrested, and there's like a rehabilitation for the character, where now that the Mirakuru is no longer in his system, he's no longer hearing voices, he's no longer insane, he's able to sit down, he's able to chill, he's able to realize that he made a fuck ton of mistakes along the way, and a lot of those mistakes were directed towards Oliver without reason. He starts working to basically rehabilitate his image. He goes from an arch nemesis like Reverse Flash to basically a friend again. And I love seeing that transition. Man, let me tell you something. That same season with Adrian Chase, when they're on top of the island and he is just going to town with the sword, and he has like the sword, but he also has like a submachine gun, and he's like slash, slash, shot, shot, slash, stab, shot, shot. I was like, how is Manu Bennett not deserved to receive his own Deathstroke series? I think that is one of the disappointments from the Arrowverse, which is you had Manu Bennett, you had this fantastic character in regards to Slade Wilson, you had this super interesting family dynamic that was essentially going on, and no one in Bertinelli's camp, no one sat down and went, you know what, maybe we should give Manu Bennett his own series, because he was going to carry that shit, especially if the choreography and the fights were going to be as good as we got in season 2 of Arrow. Season 2 of Arrow had the best fights, in my opinion. Season 2 and season 5, they both had the best, like, choreographed fights across the board. 100%, they are fantastic. When they start throwing down, you are sitting down and you are glued to your screen because of how good it is. And a lot of it has to do with how big and imposing Manu Bennett's Deathstroke is, but also how quick and lethal he is. It's poetry in motion. It's a work of fucking art. That dude was just a different type of animal. And I feel as though for 3 seasons after he was gone, the hole he left on his departure was just felt. Ra's al Ghul did not fill that hole. Damien Dark did not fill that hole. Adrian Chase's Prometheus had to go a different direction, dig a separate hole to create his own hole. And still, no one added up to just how dangerous Slade Wilson was in season 2. I think that, unlike The Flash, because The Flash has its own issues now that I actually sit down and think about it. But at the same time, you got good villains. I would say there are like 5 seasons with really good villains. You had Reverse Flash, you had Zoom, then you had Savitar. I think those were 3 really super solid villains. I know a complaint from a lot of people in regards to that is the idea that, oh, they're all speedsters. They had to tap the same well over and over again. Yes, because as speedsters, they're the ones who pull out Barry Allen's full potential. That it then makes sense as to why the Flash has to get faster, or he has to go 100%, because these people are coming at him 100%. But for the same thing, when you look back at Arrow, Deathstroke was the same way. Deathstroke made it so that Oliver Queen could not pull his punches, so that Oliver Queen had to be hyper lethal in order to put him down, because he was this physically imposing wall that Oliver was not going to be able to get over. And even in the end, when Oliver injects him with the serum and he starts turning back into like a regular human, dude was still a threat. Like it's the shock of suddenly losing all of those voices and his body actually starting to feel pain again that catches him off guard, which allows Oliver to end up beating him. Like if he had just injected them and there was no physical no mental change in any way, shape, or form, and he wasn't injured, Deathstroke would have still completely demolished Oliver. The coldest scene, in my opinion, the absolute coldest scene, is when they walk into the arrow cave, the quiver, when they walk into the quiver, and Deathstroke's just in the room, and he's like, "Hello, kid. I told you, it's not over." And Oliver jumps over the banister and he runs up and he starts fighting Deathstroke, and Deathstroke like knocks out Diggle, he knocks out Roy, and then he gets the upper hand on Oliver, knocks him out too. Then Felicity flips the switch and he's just gone. He's not there. That's how you do a villain. That's how you show that the villain is just completely deadly in every way, shape, and form. That he has the upper hand on the hero. The fact that the villain walked into the hero's own sanctum, beat his ass, beat the asses of his closest friends and confidants, and then within that same breath exited the premises, is how you set a man up for greatness. The only other person who did this was Prometheus when he dropped into the arrow cave and he was just putting the sauce on everyone. But oh my god, let me know how you feel about Manu Bennett's Deathstroke. Comment down below. Like, do you think that Arrow kind of accidentally blew their load in season 2, where they gave Oliver the best villain for him to go up against, and then for so many other seasons after that, everyone else was basically trying to play catch up to how great of a villain Slade was? Let me know. Comment down below, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.